First, let's do a drawing study of the peach. So the whole peach, the shape similar to a circle. This is the whole shape of the peach, and this is the shadow side, and this is the light side. This is the top of the peach, right? Make sure we see the value contrast, the difference between the light side and the shadow side. See. If you don't pay attention and looking for it, you may not really see it. The other side have a little bit darker value too, because a little bit away from the light. And now on the catch the shadow, this is from darker to lighter value. Okay, so when we do paintings, we also need to pay attention to the value difference. Darker or lighter value, you have to keep thinking about that. How much water I'm going to put it, how much water saturation. This is the catch the shadow. It's darker when it's closer to right underneath the objects. And in the outside, lighter, right? Okay, so we're going to start drawing on the watercolor paper. This would be the location. You can draw with short line, so it's easier to make changes. And this is the catch the shadow on this side, where I want to move probably a little bit more to the left, so it's to create a better balance to the catch the shadow. So when I do the drawing, I also want to remind myself the shadow side on the peach. The catch the shadow over here, the shadow side is about here. Shadow side. Let's erase the line we don't want to keep. And we're going to start painting. It's going to be two parts in this process. First is we're going to paint, ignore those red colors on the skin. And after we finish painting it, and we're going to glaze over with the red colors. The first thing we're going to do, let's use the round brush. What we're going to do, we're going to mostly with the yellow color, get a little red, there a little more yellow. Mostly with this color, it's the base color. So add a little more water as it's starting from the light side. Right. As we render from the light side and going into the shadow side, we're going to change the value of colors. Because the skin of the peach is very soft. It's not glassy like a green apple. So you don't see very light highlight areas. And then when we get to close to the shadow side, what we're going to do, we're going to mix a little dark colors with the yellow, of course, a little blue, and a little red colors. And I think a little bit more blue, turn it back to the little colder, a little more red, and that looks like the shadow colors we're gonna do. This side is darker. So when you mix color and when you observe, you really need to pay attention to how dark is that color, how dark is the areas. Okay. Now I come back to mix the light colors, the little yellow orange colors. I'm going to connect that color into with the shadow color. Remove any excess wet at the bottom. Now this side is close to dry, and I'm going to put just not very dark, but a little darker than the light side. And I'm going to have a little dark color over here too. Just put the dark color there. So your eye now is look for versus dark versus light. And you can make it a little softer, like this. Okay, this is good. The majority area here now is still wet. So you don't want to do too much to that yet. Let it dry. Right? The next thing we're going to do, we're going to look into the catch the shadow. The catch the shadow have quite a bit of warm color underneath, and looks like this would be the color. We're going to start from the bottom here. Like this. A little darker first, and then gradually turn into lighter. And what's that? It's a little bit more blue. When it get lighter, need more water. And make it a little lighter. And otherwise, you're gonna make the catch the shadow look the same color, look flat. Like this. Now I'm gonna clean my brush, very close to very soft edge here. So I'm gonna just use the clean brush to connect that and have the color, help the color to fade out. Like this. And the same thing on the other side of the edge. I'm just use the clean brush to touch it so that the color will softly bleed to the background, like that. Okay. Add a little more value, the small area, a little darker. Wait a few minutes. Let that dry first. Okay, let's continue. Underneath here, it has a little darker color here and it has a reflected light, right? We can put a little bit darker tone on this side too. Let's take care of the value contrast. And let's put a little darker color right here. And darker color there. And maybe even a little bit darker in here. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna soften the color. A little soften. And also, we want to have this area have some reflected light. What that mean is we need to take out some colors. Use the lifting off technique to take this color out, make it a little softer, a little lighter, like that. Have the light coming back. We can call this process as underpainting. So we are using a simple color, base color, which is yellow color, like that. And then underneath here, I also need to making some color even darker for the catch the shadow. Okay, you go. This can be darker. That's good. So how we're going to put the skin color on is mostly red colors. So we're going to put the red color here, and on this side have a little bit blue color in it. Now let's go. Okay, have a little bit more red when it get here. We're going to apply the dry brush. But watch out, you don't want to put the color evenly everywhere. Like that. Let's see, let's make the brush drier with just less water. It's just tap, 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 tap. Let's see how it look. Right? The color can be very thin, especially you have very little paint in your brush. And let's pick up a little more color and then let go some of them. It just lightly glaze over. Okay. Get a little more red. I think I'm gonna add some red color in here on this side. And I have put the color in. And if it's even if it's not maybe not perfect, but you have the time later to soften it and finish it. Okay, like over here, I use my clean wet brush to soften this side of the edge so I can have this shape starting from darker and gradually turn to lighter. And also the same thing over here. I can soften it and let the color gradually turn into inside here, starting from dark and gradually turn into lighter and lighter. Take it out. Okay. And also here I can lift up some colors because that is the turning point. You can use the lifting of colors to remove some colors. Okay. And inside here I have the color gradually turn into inside. Okay, cool. Let's continue. And on the other side of the peach, we also have some very light, thin color layer. So I'm gonna let go some of the pink from the brush. So I'm gonna just softly glaze over. You probably noticed that the direction of my brush moving is the same direction as the surface, the contour of the surface moving from here and moving also this side, moving like this. So we just apply the layer of the skin colors. But after this dry, we're gonna come back to do the final touch. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have this to be a little darker, and maybe here I can see the little red color at the edge over here. I'm gonna apply a little darker value. Otherwise, the object will look too flat, so pay attention to that. You don't want to make it look flat. And a little darker color in the inside here. I'm gonna put that in here. Good. And there's some skin color over here also a little bit darker. So I'm gonna glaze another layer to make it a little bit darker. Okay. And I need to take out some of the colors for the skin. This area actually is lighter. We're gonna return it back to the original yellow color. Okay, return it back. And then underneath here, we want to have a little bit darker in this area. And actually this is between the light side and the shadow side. A little bit cool color here. Enhance that. Now it's the last thing to do the final layer for the dark area in the catch the shadow. So I'm gonna make some even darker color. Okay, would be very dark, starting over here. And as soon as I apply this dark color in this area, and everything look pop because the deepest areas. And just use the clean brush and softly lead the color gradually smooth into the surrounding area. And actually, if you notice, there is actually have a little red colors in this side. One last thing. Disappear this color. I want to put it back here, like that. And you can soften the reflected area.